Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another Adobe Live. Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Hi, guys. Good to see you again.
We got a fantastic busy chat already here on Adobe Live. And don't forget, if you're watching us from YouTube, make sure to tune in on behance.net/live. So I'll be able to say hi to you and read your messages. And of course, pass your questions to our lovely guest, Ashley. They'll be able to reply live to all your queries. But I can see already in the chat that we have so many people saying hello. I can see Biola, nice to see you. ID, Wade Acuff here in the chat, helping us with all the clickable links. So keep an eye for his messages because he usually sends very, very useful links here in the chat. I can see Joe Cornell, Julia Masalska is in the house. Hi, Julia, nice to see you. We got Clever Devlin, ID, and of course, Paco is in the chat as well. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. So today we are on the second day of the editorial design with Ashley, which is an independent designer that runs Sway Studio in Rhode Island. Is that correct, Ashley? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that is correct.
And we're gonna show a little bit of what the work that she's done yesterday, but don't worry if that today is your first day and you're tuning in for the first time. We are gonna recap and start on doing more work in InDesign and also Illustrator. So stay tuned in because there is some wonderful work that we're gonna see. And also, I would like to remind you that in about 90 minutes, we're going to be reviewing the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge that Julia has just launched. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, let me go ahead and jump into my screen and see that this is the starting point for you to learn more about the challenges. And of course, I'm talking about our behance.net/challenge/illustrator. This is the place where you will find all the information regarding the challenges. Of course, click on the big blue button in order to be reminded of the different challenge every day and receive a little email that will unveil the challenge of the day, which you can also find here in these little cards. Today's challenge was about layout. Julia has shown you how to design a layout for a minimalistic product using the Align tool, and we'll be reviewing that in Discord. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, very easy. All you have to do is to click here on the community chat in order to join our fantastic Discord. As you can see, Discord is our is our chat server where we'll be able to see your work, review it, but most importantly, where you can have your work reviewed by our fantastic community of international designers, and of course, all the lovely mentors that are here, like Rocky Roque, Julia Masalska, Colby City, Jack Watson, which are right here in the house. And if you're wondering how to submit your work, all you have to do is to head to the feedback channel, which is right here. I'm pointing on my mouse, and click on challenge. And then all you have to do is click on the little zoom on the little plus sign at the bottom of the chat, and you'll be able to upload and share your design. As I say, Ashley here, this is a safe space for everyone to learn. So even if you're not done with your challenge and you're maybe just looking for some inspiration to finish it off, feel free to send it and share it with us anyway. We'll be more than happy to perhaps give you some advice or just give you some compliments as well. But before we jump into you, Ashley, sorry, I'm taking a little bit of time with these housekeeping items. I will love to tell you more about the busy day that is going to be here at Adobe Live, because after us, the show goes on. There is so much more fun-filled day here at Adobe Live. In fact, after this editorial design stream, we'll have Peter Del Tondo with the third challenge of the day, which is the XD Daily Creative Challenge. Actually, the fourth. Sorry, I forgot that we're actually introducing video creative challenges as well, which is mind-blowing. Followed by the lovely Kyle Webster in a draw along stream, and then to close the day in fun, the awesome voodoo ball with Amy from Good Rat Funny. So this is the schedule for today. Make sure to stay tuned. There is a lot of cool stuff going on, but I think that I blabbed enough, and I'm very curious, Ashley, to see what you've been up to yesterday. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself. We'd love to know where you're from, and everyone in the chat, if you want to share with us as well where you're from, we'll be happy to see you. And don't forget to pass your question, to write your question in the chat so I can pass them to Ashley when we work. So let's get started.
Yeah. So like she said, I am a independent designer in Rhode Island, in Providence. I work primarily in branding, but I also do web design, layout, package design, you name it. So, but today we're gonna continue on with our newspaper design, newspaper magazine mesh, I kind of want to call it, editorial, and it is a guide all about things to do to keep busy while we all have this time at home. So called Home Buddy, and then we worked on this cover yesterday. I kind of offline finalized some of this wayfinding right here, and then we also worked on this editorial yesterday together. If you tuned in, you would have seen that I was kind of struggling to find where these photos landed on this layout, and I finally found a spot for everything. And then if you also remember from our inspiration board, which was here, we had talked about maybe adding in some type of like other little layered piece to go almost inside of the newspaper. So if we have time today, we might even do something fun with this right here.
Ooh.
But here's where we landed. We were doing everything in a modular grid so that everything kind of fell in a good spot. Finally found a way for it to work, and I'm really excited with where this ended up. And then if you'll
that looks pretty fantastic. I think you've done a very, very fantastic job yesterday. I'm very excited to see where we're going to be taking this today.
Yeah, so yesterday we just started this centerfold design. We were going to make it really type-based, do this fun gradient here, and we decided to get even a little bit more fun with the type. I'm not exactly sure yet if I like having the outline of home. I'm not sure if that's the exact word that I want to highlight, so we're going to play around with this a little bit. And I also created these shapes here, which we kind of worked on that a little bit yesterday too, how you can combine shapes with the Pathfinder in InDesign so that you can kind of combine shapes to make a new one for a frame for your photos. So we're going to put in new photos here. And then also like just add these fun little shapes. So the way that I make these is I go into Illustrator. It's just a little bit easier for me to do it this way. And you kind of just make a circle, and then you go to Effect, Distort, Transform, and then Zigzag. And then from here, you can kind of just make a bunch of fun little shapes. So you can either have, corner, or you can have smooth, and you can adjust how many there are. Like they're just like fun little bursts that I've been really into lately.
They're so cool. And I love how Illustrator allows you to create so many different shapes in just like one click, because it's got huge control.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then you can just copy and paste this and just bring it back in.
Ashley, by the way, people are loving your work in the chat. We got Julia saying, I love the typeface and the color choices. Michelle saying, looking great, Ashley. And
thanks.
Also, yes, they're loving it. And I'm also loving it. I think it's really good.
So let's also, I'm going to pull in some photos.
Do you usually take your own photos when you're working, or
I do a mix. I had a few photos of the shibori that I did myself. Not these. A lot of these are from Adobe, but like I did this one myself. But it's a mix between stock and photography I've done myself or photographers I know. I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna pick a bunch of like fun house theme scenes.
And we said that we were going to sing a little song, didn't we?
Oh yeah, bored in the house.
I'm bored in the house. I'm in an house board. So that was the theme. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of behind the scene fun facts. When I met Ashley, I love that the description was all about I'm bored in the house, because I don't know if you guys have been obsessed by all these new videos now on social media, but that was one of my favorites. As soon as I realized that I was going to ask Ashley, and she was in the team of bored in the house, I'm in an house board. So I was like, Ashley, I'm going to have to do a little song.
We were talking yesterday about TikTok and how much we love it.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure Sus was in the house. So yeah, it's a big TikTok fan.
Yeah. I haven't learned any dances yet, but maybe eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that probably if I was you, I would definitely create a TikTok for Little Brew. Is that correct? Is Brew the name?
Yeah, so Brew, yep. My
Yeah.
dog. Yeah, we've thought so many times, we're like, this would make a great TikTok, where she always is just staring at us from a room, where they have that one song where it's like, I'm watching you, and just like have that, and have little scenes of her just staring at us from like a little creep.
She's so cute. I had the pleasure to meet the doggy as well, and she's just so pretty. But sorry guys, if you know me, you know that I get all like cute for cat and dogs, and I love animals and pets in general. But let's stick to design. And in fact, we have a question from Biola asking, when you use your own photos, do you charge clients?
Oh, that's a good point. It depends. If I'm a little bit probably more forgiving than some, but like if it's, you need to have a whole studio set up, and you need to have like a whole team and that kind of thing, and it's a whole production, then like for sure that's like a totally separate thing. But if it's just like something like super simple that we can easily just like get a shot of ourselves, like I kind of just like to throw that in there as just like a nice little extra. Because I wouldn't call myself a photographer by any means, like a super professional, so I don't think I would really charge for that as much. It's not one of my main offerings.
I think that's very, very fair, and that's a great way of building relationship with clients as well. So Biola, I completely agree with Ashley. Depending on the amount of time that it takes, if it's something that you can do real quick, maybe it's a nice add-on that you can give free of charge to your clients, and I'm sure they will be very happy and most likely really appreciate the value for money that they're getting. But of course, if that includes you purchasing lights and production, or hiring the photographer, that is going to become a cost that needs to show on the invoice for sure.
Yeah. And definitely like just letting them know too that this is like, you don't have to necessarily say like, hey, I'm throwing this in for you, but maybe just say like, hey, I just, I like you and I really think this will be a fun project, so I'm just going to throw this in as extra, just so they kind of know, hey, you're looking out for me and you're just, helping me out a little bit here.
I think that's a great strategy. Those are like the strategy for being a self-employed and for independent freelance, I think.
Yeah.
We got a question from Hugo saying you should charge for it or work it as an additional fee. Licensing very is important. Yeah, Hugo, in this case, we were talking about self-taken photos. So maybe something that Ashley could take by herself real quick. I absolutely agree. If we talk about Adobe stock and licensing, yes, licensing is very important. But if it's a personal photo that Ashley decides to take and share for her client, is part of her package that she offers in the same price that she's charging for. Michelle is saying, I love the image of the curtains.
Thank you.
As well.
I know it kind of goes well. What I kind of try to do is, on this page, it's like primarily golds and yellows. So I'm trying to find photos that kind of fit that hue a little bit. So you get that sense here. There's a little bit of the gold here. And not as much with this one. And like same thing with this, obviously. I mean, it's all indigo, so they kind of go together. So that's kind of how I'm approaching.
I really love the cover. When you were showing the cover, I was like, that's such a lovely it gives you like a breathing space, and you really got the feeling that you're looking out from a window, and
Yeah.
it's very lovely.
This is what I wish my house looked like.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions. Usually people ask me like where you get inspiration from, and I'm like, well, usually I try to do what is like my dream house, my dream, whatever my dream is, that's where I aspire to and I get inspired to.
Yep.
Fake until you make it, they say.
Yep. Yep.
A bit of visualization, So Eddie's saying it's all about perceived value. I will show them what is out there on stock photos and how much it costs, and if they want you to supply a few photos or not, so it shows the value. Yeah. Also, Eddie, what I do is putting some I put the price of the photo into my invoice, and then I discounted them. So again, I think that what Ashley, and please Ashley correct me if I'm wrong, but what she was saying is all depending of the amount of time and amount of work that needs to be done. If it's something that is, quick and dirty, can be done nice and easy, you can totally show the charges and definitely show the value, but then give it them for free.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, definitely don't do not overextend yourself if it's gonna involve a lot. You should never totally give away your work for free.
Okay, so they're liking the idea of the discount. Yes. Cornell was asking, what's your TikTok, Ashley? Do you have one?
Oh, I do have one, but like I'm just like a lingerer, and just like I just lurk around and watch other videos. I haven't posted one yet.
We're part of the same team. Same here. If you guys want to find me on social media, I am Kladi, cross-platform. So on Instagram, on TikTok, but on TikTok, you're not going to find any happy dances yet. Most likely to find my friends, sons and daughters having little dances, but I think that I don't have anything yet. I'm planning to start to post some stuff in there, but I haven't got the time yet. So I'm definitely part of your team, Ashley.
Yeah, I still have to like figure out how it actually even like works putting together a whole video. I just was trying to figure out how to do reels, and I was like, I don't know. This will take me a whole day.
Reels is the TikTok things in Instagram, isn't it?
Yep.
I haven't even got caught up with that. So I'm like struggling with stories already. Fantastic. See if there is any questions. And in the meantime, I want to remind everyone to make sure to go ahead and upload your work on Discord. Remember to join in on the Daily Creative Challenge in Illustrator. The lovely Julia Masalska today was working on layout and showing you some nice tips and techniques to sharpen your skill in Illustrator and create a lovely layout. So make sure to submit your work on Discord. And I know that our amazing Wade is about to drop us a link in the chat, so you can just click there and you'll be able to share your work on the Feedback Challenge channel, and me and Ashley will be reviewing your work in just 20 minutes before the end of the show. So I think we got like 45 minutes. Let me just double check the timing here. You still got time to do it. I'm gonna definitely get you a little bit of a alarm bell when we are close to the time. So Ashley, you were looking for, you were on Adobe Fonts before. Were you
yes,
activating?
I was looking for something a little bit more different than what we've been using. I was trying to find like some type of like condensed sans serif, just something that felt like totally different than everything else. But I'm not finding something that I'm digging.
Do you use the filters into the type kit there?
Oh, right here? Oh.
They should be just under the font name at the very top. It says filters. Your
yes,
yeah. So if you click there, we've got a wonderful helping tool that allow you to narrow down to what you want.
Oh, nice. Okay. And this is regular weight. Cool. That is super helpful. Look at that.
Otherwise, we can spend so much time. I personally spend so much time browsing for fonts.
I know.
Oh, that looks slick.
Yeah, well, you know, can always keep messing around with it. But we can move on too from here. But I think I'm liking where this is at. Added tiny little bit of blue just to highlight some of the words that I'm into. And then adding those photos I think were really cool, and these shapes, kind of tying in the blue from up here a little bit too. I think that's looking cool.
I think it's looking very nice. I love the gradient as well that you implemented there.
Yeah, the gradient I think is a fun extra. All right, and so now what we're gonna do is we are going to start this this spread, and this one is going to be recipes. So my friend Christine has beautiful, awesome recipes and photography. So I'm going to be pulling some of that in.
Oh, so she's been able to share with you the recipe that you're going to be using for the this newspaper magazine?
Yes, I am not a expert cook or by any means.
What sort of food are we looking at?
So it's a little bit healthier. She is a nutritionist, but she has some like really good smoothies, coffee, coconut macaroons, which look super good, guacamole. So
hey, please pass the link when we're done. Sounds fantastic. I'm like, yeah, hey. That sounds delicious. Yeah. Coconut macaroons. I don't think I ever had any.
Yeah, she has beautiful photos too. So another thing that I did offline here that I didn't do yesterday is, where are my stories? Here's my stories. Oh wait, no. Character styles, sorry. So for this, I kind of wanted all the body copy to be the same, subheads, headlines, and this is kind of just like a really quick way so that you can just like click on it and it already matches in formats, which is like just saves you time, especially if it's going to be like a super long document. And to do that, you kind of just essentially just highlight the section that you like, and you can just click add new and name it something else, and then it'll copy that.
Mm-hmm. They're so helpful, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I don't always remember to use them, but then when I do, I'm always thankful.
I think everyone is hyped by the guacamole here.
Guacamole is the best.
Love it. I think one of the reason why I miss California so much is probably because I had the best guacamole and the best avocado.
Yeah.
Ever. So I'm like missing them so bad. And Wade was asking if I was streaming from the boat. Almost, Wade, almost. I'm in the south of Italy today. So if you guys usually follow my stream, I'm based in Manchester, UK. But today I want to give a big shout out to my hometown in the south of Italy, Lecce. So I'm actually in the south of Italy right now. And we're doing this oceanic stream with Ashley in Rhode Island. So definitely long howl. Biola is asking a question, Ashley, about how many fonts do you use per project, and what do you do what a client wants for?
I think I used to be a little bit more strict about how many fonts. I think I used to kind of keep it to like 3 or so. But like as the years have gone on, I think people are being a little bit more forgiving, especially with like your digital presence versus if you're doing something print. You can kind of play around with a few different typefaces. I just think what's really important is that it looks purposeful. So you just don't want to use a lot of typefaces that seem really similar to each other and like similar sizes. And then it kind of just starts like you not doing it on purpose. But I think, recently there's just like a lot more room to play around with like big, bold type in one section of like a website or something like that. So I would keep it probably around 2 or 3 to start, and then you can maybe add on later and see how everything feels.
Just like have a feature fonts.
Yes, yeah. What about you? Do you have a rule about that?
So my rule is like I never try go over 2 fonts, and I make sure that one is very out of there, and I try to really push for contrast. Although the one that is more grounded and clean, so perhaps Futura or Helvetica or Dean or Gotham, everything that is a little bit more structured, either round or like squared, which has got very consistent ascender and descenders. I try to find something that's got a very broad family, so I can really have fun with ultra bold or semi bold or very extra light. And I try to really build hierarchy within a family, and then boom, have the feature font, which is the extravagant one, which I think is pretty much what you were doing here. And I completely agree with you. If it's needed, as long as there is a valid reasoning behind your choice, you can throw there an extra one. And to come back to, I believe it was Viola question, if your clients ask you for 4, what I do in order to create some boundaries to clients' ideas and creativities, because that's not necessarily their job as much to get excited by doing it, what I do, I ask them why. What is the reason behind these extra choices you want? Why there isn't? And if you put them in a corner when they're like, oh, I like it, well, my answer is going to be like, it's not about what you like, it's about what your customer perceive and what they're going to like. So sorry, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I've never really had a client specifically ask me for multiple typefaces before. I think if you go through an exercise with them and kind of like lead them into why you did what you did, and then like set them up with like a brand guidelines or something like that, usually people don't necessarily they won't out of nowhere ask for it, unless I think what usually ends up happening is if they go off and do something on their own without you, they just end up adding a bunch of typefaces. And then that's when you have to be like, no.
Stop there.
Yeah.
Well, I really love that photo as well. Is that photo from your friend?
Yes. Yep. This is her.
So yummy. Does she have an Instagram or something?
Yes. It is function of, I think she's either Christine Manham, which is her name right here, or the function of well. She's a nutritionist, so that's also her business that she runs as well. She also has really cute dogs. Wait, here.
Oh, so I'm definitely gonna go and find her now.
There, let's see, is this it? There, you can see one of the dogs right there in the corner. Such a
Is
cutie.
that one of the Australian?
Yeah, Australian Shepherd.
I believe is what Gus says as well here from Adobe Live. I'm a big fan. They're so beautiful.
They're so cute. They're so fluffy.
So much, yes. So function of well, is that what is? What's the name? Function. I'm curious now. Definitely gonna check them out. Check her out.
She lives in Colorado, so they go hiking with their dogs all the time. It's beautiful.
Oh wow! Do you know where about in Colorado? Because I think we got Julia Masalska that is in Colorado.
I believe Denver.
Oh.
Don't hold me to it though. I've never been to Colorado. I've always wanted to go.
Me neither. I see a beautiful photo from Julia though, but I've never been to that area, so.
A lot of hiking.
Sorry here if you guys hear me typing, but I'm getting super curious and I really want to see. Could it be Live Well, Christina? Functional nutritional coach.
Yes. Yep.
Fantastic. Definitely gonna give her a follow. Beautiful. Let me see if there is any questions. So design innovation has got another design management question. It says, how do you deal with micromanagers that want to put their 2 cents on every project, even if they move something 1 pixel?
Ooh. So I think I kind of try to advise them and explain like why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and giving the reasoning behind it. I guess sometimes, you're a designer, some things seem like super obvious to you and you kind of don't really feel like you need to go into an explanation. But that education really helps people kind of understand why you made the decisions that you made. And I personally find with anyone who ends up being a little bit more of a micromanager, I give them that advice. I say, hey, you hired me for this reason. This is my recommendation. And, if you feel super strongly about it for X, Y, and Z, like, please give me your reasoning. And then maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. But I kind of just try to approach it as like, here's my reasoning. And I really want to give you the best option possible. And usually people will like kind of back down a little bit from there. But if they feel like super strongly, also at the end of the day, they are your client. So you do want to compromise a little bit here and there. So I don't know if I end up being a little bit more of a pushover every once in a while. I just like to make everyone happy. But I think people just like to put their stamp in something at some point. So, maybe meeting them halfway with a few things here and there and then kind of putting your foot down for certain things, I think is probably the best approach, because you just don't want people to feel like you're not hearing them out either.
Absolutely. I think you very, very well said. I think it's really hard to find a compromise, and it's all a work of tiny balances in terms of making them sure that you are giving them your best professional advice. That's something that I do, like that literally the way that I communicate with them is saying, hey, you may not want to follow my advice, but I'm giving you my professional point of view. This is not personal. This is what an expert is advising you to do. Then it's up to you doing it or not. And I don't know about you, Ashley, but after a few years of running my practice, I got to the point, I think that at the beginning I was so connected to my work and to whatever I was delivered that I felt that even their business, their logo was my baby. So I was really attached, and it caused me a lot of like literal emotional suffering when they were like destroying the work.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, you know what, if that's what you want, I know that I've done my best. I know that I've done my best to explain to you the direction, but then at the end of the day, you have to let go a little and just that's what you want. And if that's what they enjoy, is the better you move on and you go to a better client, the best it is.
Yes.
Oh, that food looks so yummy.
It is so good.
So good. Design Innovation is saying great advice. Hugo Hernandez is telling us always ask why and have them explain. Correct. Michelle Parent is telling us that she needs to get better in telling clients what's what, that she's kind of fresh and after gives in to what they want. Michelle is a very fine line and is not that easy. So that comes with experience. I think that every one of us, when we started, we are a little bit more quiet and following the lead. But then when you gain more experience and you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, you can tell them. Michelle saying, look at that snake plant. Yes, we have a Sansevieria plant just behind the beautiful smoothie. I'm a plant fan, so don't get me started on those.
Oh yeah, me too. Though I kind of been killing a lot of my plants. I think I've been like giving them too much love with all this time at home. I've just been like over watering them, and I'm like, okay, maybe they don't need to be watered this much.
I need to send you my book.
Oh, you have a book?
I've published a book called Plant Therapy, which is an illustrated guide of how to take care of indoor plants. Oh, and I'll probably share it later on towards the end, but it's called Plant Therapy. So I think if you just Google Plant Therapy Print My Soul, you guys be able to see it. And it's an illustrator guide on how to take care of indoor plants, and it's fully illustrated. And actually, that was a personal project. So I always advise everyone to jump into personal project. I just got the iPad. I started to do illustration. I do a lot of commercial work, and I wanted to do more illustration. So I just went for it with my favorite topic. And then I ended up winning an international award with it. So
that's awesome.
go with your personal project and don't have the sky's the limit.
Yes, I will say, like, the few personal projects I've done have always gotten me the clients that I've been the most excited about, and they usually always reference that stuff, and which is always exciting because, you know, sometimes you do some things just because, you know, the client asks you, and, you know, it still looks great, but it's not necessarily like your personal aesthetic or anything like that. So it's always good to have those projects where you're like, okay, this is like what I really would love to be doing. And then you end up attracting people because they don't know that you can do that until they've seen it. You know what I mean?
Yes, man, correct. I think that's a great way of saying it. Show and work on things that you want to be hired for. So even when I get a lot of question about what should I put on my portfolio, what kind of project should I show, how many, just show what you want to be paid to do. Even if it's not a client that got you to do it, take your time. And that's why I think that creative challenges are so fantastic. I don't know if you ever followed any of them, Ashley, but they are fantastic in terms of taking time and spend that into expanding your skills and really, and even like here, you know, what we're doing, if someone is following along and wants to recreate what you're doing because that's what they're passionate about, they can take it further and make their own stamp on it, and that can become a strong portfolio piece that follows your heart and follows what you want to do. And even if it's not a paid client job, is going to be there shown to the client so everyone can see and hire you for that. And then you're going to start to make money doing what you love, which is the goal, I believe.
Yes, definitely. So I'm just starting to kind of like format this stuff a little bit more. I usually just take my copy right from the deck and just start plopping it in. And normally, you know, right off the bat, you're like, it looks a little funky, and I'm gonna need to like drop this 2 onto the next line or something like that. But, and you know, maybe for these, the spacing is gonna be a little bit more because it's a list. Like, kind of get a feel for that stuff as you go. So I feel like usually it starts off kind of ugly. You might have weird breaks from the copy deck, and then go from there.
Ashley, we have a question that says, let me bring it up because I want to really mention who was asking it. It was about the way that you split your screen. Let me find that again here in the chat because we have so many lovely comments as well coming up. Okay, fantastic. It's Jessica Boeras asking, hey, Ashley, how did you cut your background in your live figure?
Wait, which one?
I'm not absolutely sure. Jessica, if you don't mind, just please let us know exactly which page where you were talking in.
Yeah.
I think she probably meant 5 instead of live.
Oh.
Let us know, Jessica.
Yes,
we are here to, and I'm gonna keep my eyes in the chat, so don't worry. I'm more than happy to pick up your question again. If you can please be a little bit more detailed. It's probably just me not getting it. I apologize, but we're more than happy to get your question. And then I'm having a lot of lovely comments. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. It looks like people have been looking at the book. I'm like getting shy here. Thank you so much, guys. You're so nice. I didn't say inspired. It's inspired. Michelle is loving the book. Fantastic. BL, say busy, Kladi. Yes, keep busy. That's, I mean, I get the busier I am, the more excited I am. So that depends on your personality. I'm not saying that you need to. That's how I am, and I really enjoy it. But again, that's the beauty of doing the job that you love. And I personally really had to fight to get into design. I come from a completely different background, but that's another chapter. What about you, Ashley? Let us know a little bit more about you. So what's your background, and did you know that you were going to start as a design from your very young age, or is that something that you embraced afterwards?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. I always I was making websites and like weird little collages on Photoshop like at an early age. My dad had Adobe pretty early on, and my sister would play around with it. And then she went to art school and was a graphic design major, ended up switching, but that's kind of how I knew about it. And I went into college like always loving the arts, loving drawing and painting. But then, was afraid like, okay, if I'm a painting major, I'm not necessarily like great enough to be like a painter. So what am I going to do afterwards? So that's when I started thinking more about graphic design. And I went into college as an environmental science major and then ended up switching.
Oh, wow.
After realizing it was not necessarily, I care about the environment lots and lots, but maybe I shouldn't be an environmental scientist. So.
And then you started your graphic design track.
Yes. And then I went into graphic design, and I, right after school, I was working at a few ad agencies and a few small little like studios. I actually worked for a woman who had her own practice, and, it was like a small little shop, and I absolutely loved it. And it kind of got me thinking that maybe that's what I would want to be doing. So.
Oh, that's so inspiring.
Now.
So Eddie is asking, is Ashley on Behance? Ashley, yes. Do you have a Behance page? I believe that you'll be able to find it here on Behance. Let me just check and see. So let's see if we can find Ashley on Behance here. I know that we have your website here. Are you under Sway Studio, Ashley, or is your name?
So. I believe I'm under Sway Studio.
Let me find it over. So, let's see. So we can share it with the world. Yeah. Let's see if we can find it first here. I'm going to try with your name.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. It's just people were very curious.
All of these things.
People are curious to see your work because it's looking pretty. I really love the way that you are, that you're building up this recipe. I think there is a fantastic flow.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have two profile, one that is in Boston and one that is in Providence.
I would probably go off the Providence one. I have
I mean, like it's you in both ways, like it's the same photo.
I used to live in Boston, so maybe I have an old account.
So everybody, we got more than one. Beautiful. Yes. So if we can please just go into my screen, I'll be able to share with the world your lovely work. So for those of you that were asking about Ashley Behance, here it is. You have to type behance.net/Ashley Armstrong. And of course, here you also have the link to Sway Studio, which is her freelance practice. But most importantly, you'll be able to see the gorgeous work that she does. So here we have an example of the work that she were talking about, the little collages. I can still see these lovely surreal collages made with photo, newspaper type. Really love it, Ashley. Actually gonna give it a thumbs up here. And then we have more editorial design. So is editorial your thing? Is that what you enjoy doing most than anything?
I mean, editorial was like my first thing I kind of fell in love with in school. So I really definitely enjoy it. I love that, and I love web design, just two like kind of both layout heavy things.
And you seem like you're very keen type as well.
Oh yeah, love type.
Ooh, I love this project, which is called, let me see. Let me see what's the it's Sway You. I think you've done lovely things with the grain to create the background.
Thanks. Yeah,
So cool.
I kind of took the type into Photoshop, and you kind of can use the warp tool to move everything around, so it almost looks like it's like underwater, or just like moving in the wind or something like that.
Really cool.
That was a
Very
fun one.
inspiring. So y'all go ahead and follow Ashley on Behance if you want to get inspired. She's got some very cool work here. Fantastic. Let's jump back into your screen and see where we're going with this newspaper magazine.
So I'm kind of wondering, because I have a lot of space right here that I can't necessarily fit in the same column size, and we have a lot of wonderful recipes. I'm wondering if, kind of how in a newspaper they have little call outs on the side, just of little like mini lists and stuff. I'm wondering if maybe these can be the smaller recipes that we're maybe not going to highlight as largely as we are here, and maybe just put them in here. So
okay, so you just got like a smaller
smaller
like
version.
you're building like a hierarchy of relevant information.
Yeah.
Here. Sounds great. Really cool. So Hedy, we showed Ashley Behance, and then we have Wade Acuff showing her Instagram and website, and I'm gonna paste here the behance.net / Ashley Armstrong link, and I'm sure that Wade in a second will make sure that becomes a clickable link. Jatirmia says, wow, that's amazing work. I know what I'm spending my time watching tonight watching. Jatirmia is always here in the chat, is super committed and following along Adobe Live. It's so nice to see you here. Cornell as well is loving the work. Eddie is saying, nice work, Ashley. Okay, fantastic.
Thanks,
we got a little bit of expand on the Jessica question. So Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to break it down for us. And our question is, she mentioned both are on a live session boxes while Ashley background is in her place. What's your name? Okay, so I think that Jessica is more talking about the way that we stream. And okay. My name is Kladi, by the way, because she was like, what's her name? Use an infinite background because we see the screen class, not where you're at. Okay, fantastic.
Your green screen, maybe.
Yes, we got it. So Jessica, so we have a fantastic setup, and I think it's nice to share. So thank you so much for your question. We finally got around. I think we were both me and Ashley, we were stuck in InDesign grid and layout. So we're like, oh, how do we share the layout? Are we talking about margins or so? So I think that me and Ashley were more focused on InDesign, but your question is absolutely welcome and super cool. I think it's nice to dive in on our production here. So behind the scene, we have our amazing studio manager, which is Paco, who you guys see in the chat as well. Paco is a wonderful, super lovely studio manager that is usually based in San Francisco. I had the super amazing pleasure to work with him, and is always very fun. And even right now that we are streaming from abroad, is still here behind the scene. So Jessica, the way that it works is Paco is putting all this wonderful production together. The reason why I have what you refer to as an infinity stream, and by the way, again, my name is Kladi, is because I have a green screen behind me that creates the illusion of me floating inside the screen. While Ashley, I believe, is using her computer webcam and is actually sharing with us her environment where she works, so we can actually see her working in her room. And and then at the back behind us, yeah, Paco, fantastic. So here it is. Let's unveil the magic. So Jessica, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't have any infinite screen. The magic is created by Paco because he's going to transform in the green screen into a background. So Paco, thank you so much for sharing. I think that's super, super cool. I'm sure people would love that. And as, again, we have Paco in the chat. So if you have any further production question, he's the person that helps us. He always helps me so much to make sure everything works well and takes care of us. So illusion revealed. Yes, fantastic. Thank you, Paco. Yeah, Jessica is saying, Paco, you're a fantastic illusion maker. I agree. And he's also an amazing photographer and videographer. So yeah, go and check out Paco. Amazing guy. Lots of love for you, Paco. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Cornell is saying Paco is a tech wizard. Absolutely agree. All my questions for what screen, what light, what display, that is definitely my go-to person. Cornell is saying pretty nice project. The night with luck got my attention. Now you're referring to. That's really cool. Jessica is asking, how many projects do you have so far, Ashley? How many projects do you design per day?
Oh, per day. It depends on, what the actual ask is. If I'm like wrapping something up and it's kind of more so I'm just exporting files for something, I'll do that in the morning. And then, the afternoon, I'll spend some time on emails, maybe trying to figure out, I'm always like on the hunt for another project. So always contacting potential clients and stuff like that. And then maybe for me personally, my like creative time is more so later at night. So like if there's something that involves like a lot of brain power and starting totally from scratch a new design, then I'll spend the second half of the day and maybe into the night. Like if I was doing a magazine layout like this, then I would kind of do that later in the night, and then earlier in the mornings more for like small finishing up certain tasks.
Isn't that crazy? So I keep hearing that a lot of like designers are like night owl. They're like, you really get into the zone when everything is like quiet and the lights are off.
Yeah. I used to be more of a morning person, and like that used to be my better time, but like lately it's just like it takes me a really long time to get into it. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm not going to say age because you're super young. That's probably something that affects me more. But actually, let me tell you this, with age, because I know that I'm a little older, you're going to come back into the morning thing. So the more that I'm growing up with age is I kind of like wake up early. I got like this 7:30 or 6:30 like ping into my head, and I just wake up. And then what I'm starting to do now is like I have breaks. So I kind of leave the mid part of the day after lunch up to like 5 o'clock for me time. And then I enjoy working in the evening as well.
Yeah, that like lunchtime is just like is never the best time. I don't know if it's just like
all the brain.
Always, I feel like, yeah.
All the blood is in the tummy.
Yeah.
So Pauli Almonte is here and says, hi everyone, first time here. Excited to see Ashley's results. Isn't that looking super cool? I love how you're building all of these different hierarchy here. Oh, we got a Susie in the house says, I'm older than both of you and I wake up later than ever. I can testify to that. Yes, Jesus like is 11:30ish. I'm actually on alarm duty sometimes when it needs to have heard the news. Hi, Jesus. Thank you so much for joining us. We miss you dearly, even if I'm sure that Ashley's having more fun today for obvious reasons.
I'm having equal amounts of fun with both of you guys.
Very diplomatic. No, we definitely, me and Jesus are very close, so we can afford to have a little bit of silly jokes. Oh, fantastic. Wade has also shared Paco Sealer Instagram. Go and check that bad boy out. Paco takes fantastic photos. So first of all, if you're like me, you're going to get jealous of all the amazing trip that he does. I don't know if you ever checked it out, Ashley, but I'll definitely recommend you to go and see Paco Instagram. It goes into amazing, mind-blowing places. I got my backpack ready, Paco, by the way, once I get my food back into America, just so you know, I got my backpack ready to go because I would love to join you. So on his Instagram, you can see his wonderful trips and he takes some lovely videos and photos. Very, very inspiring. Nick Barino is saying, yes, absolutely. Nick is saying, thanks for sharing these. I've always wanted to know how you get floating heads. Yes. Ashley, you don't have to answer, but we got a question regarding your age, but we can even leave it up to imagination.
Oh, people are asking how old I am?
Yes.
I am 27 years old.
Young, you mean?
Yeah.
She's 27 years young.
I feel like I always look a little bit younger, but I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to appreciate that more. When I was younger, it used to always bother me. I remember I was like 23 or something like that. And then I remember trying to go into the movie theater and, you know, for a rated R movie or whatever, you have to be 18. And I remember getting carded and being so upset about it. And now I'm just like, you know, later in life, I will be excited if I'm older and I get carded.
Letty, that's a compliment. Let me tell you, I've got like pretty much 10 years on top of you, and I'm gonna just leave it like that. So nobody dares asking me more than any detail about my age, but I got like that little 10 years on top. And if I ever, it doesn't happen anymore that much, I gotta say. But with the rare occasion in which I get carded, I'm like so flattered. I'm like, you know, give it like a bit of a wink, and I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Yep. It's funny how it changes as you get older. You're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, as Susie says that he has over 2 decades. 1 decade over you. Fantastic. So what's going on here on this beautiful design?
Yeah, so just kind of laying everything out, getting into a good spot. I think I'm liking this whole idea of, you know, smaller little sections on the side of, I'm not exactly sure which ones I want to highlight more or less, but I think I like this play on size a little bit. So you have your main recipes that you want to highlight and then these small ones on the sides. And I like the rules that are going on here too. It kind of visually differentiates between the two a little bit, and it's kind of playing off of all the rules we had going up here. You know, you want to be mindful right here of the edge of the page too, so I'm trying to keep everything a little bit away from there. But because this is a newspaper and there isn't any actual binding, you don't necessarily need to leave as much room as you would for like a book or something or a magazine. And someone brought up yesterday too, like, am I crazy? These won't actually like paper-wise be right next to each other. And that you were not crazy. This is kind of just a nice way to see how it will actually sit. These are technically printed on 2 totally different pieces of paper, but the spread will be there together. And InDesign has a great thing where you can print booklet, and then it'll automatically change all the pages, all the orders for you. So it'll print how you expect it to, which is awesome.
Yes, that lovely pagination that our amazing friends, best friends printers do so well. So we don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Love a good printer.
Yes, for sure.
Jessica is saying that she's a huge fan of magazines and InDesign. Many people say mags gonna die because technology, but apparently not. They're still breathing. Ashley, this project is for paper or digital?
This is for printing. I kind of disagree with that. I mean, people have been saying for a long time that print would die, but like, I kind of think of it as like, think of records. People still collect records. People still like holding them. Like, even though I have all my music on my phone, I still like to have some records every once in a while. Like, I think because everything is so digital, when you do get something like beautifully printed in your hands, like it's almost even more special now. But I might be biased because I'm a little bit of a print geek, but I just think if you get something with like a beautiful stock on like colored stock, like, it was expensive to print, like I just like keep that forever. Like if I get a cool magazine, I like keep that on my bookcase like forever. So that's just
I
my opinion.
completely, I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. I think that also with all this, I mean, especially someone like me and you that works, and all of you guys that works on computer all the time, we get all this blue light, and also even if you're not working on a PC, you just got like your phones. So it's so cozy and resting to let your eyes just, stay there and get soaked by the paper, and having more this dull approach with the light, I think is very, very relaxing. I find it so relaxing that I'm the kind of person who falls asleep with a book on her face. That happens quite often. It's deeply relaxing. And we have Bruno Silva saying, "Hey, nice layout, Ashley. I'm new to InDesign, need to take the first steps, but I'm into the challenges. Then need to know how it works." Yes. So Ashley, if you want to, I don't know, I'm sure a little bit more of your techniques. I'm sure Bruno will appreciate. And then we got more questions as well. So let me know what you like to do. I'll keep firing questions. Yeah. We can stop and just focus on the work, whatever you prefer.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're a beginner in InDesign, InDesign's like pretty forgiving in the fact that you just, as you go, you build on. You don't have to worry about a ton of layers if you don't want to. You can kind of just start with some copy and some photos and start laying stuff in. I personally, if you watched yesterday, you would know that I start off with this modular grid, and that's kind of my starting point. And you don't even have to build it necessarily with margins and guides like I did. You can even go online, and there's certain grids that you can just place as an image in the background and use that as your guide. I think having these are just so helpful, because sometimes you'll open a page in InDesign and you'll be like, okay, where do I put this photo? Like, I have no idea where to even start. And I just think it's a good base point of reference. So essentially how I use it is these columns, I'm making sure that all of my columns of copy are 4 of these little boxes wide, and I'm doing that across the board except for this smaller one that we're differentiating. And then I use the these like rows to kind of, I don't follow the rows as much as I do the columns. Personally, I think the columns are more important when I start a design, but it's a great way of knowing, okay, so this can be like the same size, or I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to make this like 2 across. And it's just like a good way to have something that like ends up very organized, but like has some differences to each other. And just having those rules in place, I think just limits all of the possibilities, which I think when you're starting out is like the most daunting part. You're just like, whoa, I could do anything. And it's kind of a nice way to narrow down and then go from there.
Yes, I love InDesign. I think is, as you say, is very forgiving in terms of enabling you to create great layouts. And also, I wanted to share something. I was doing a little research while you were sharing your experience with InDesign, because I believe Bruno was asking in particular that he would like to learn how to set pages, index, and stuff like that, not the fun stuff. And I got something very cool for you and for everyone, which is Adobe Max. So for those of you that don't know, Adobe Max is coming very soon. And if we perhaps jump into my screen, we can have a little look at what Adobe Max looks like here. And let me just drag the home page. And I was, oops, let's see if we can see here. Fantastic. And if you browse on Adobe Max, here, all you have to do is to go to max.adobe.com. This is a fantastic creativity conference that is usually held in LA, but this year is going to be for free for everyone. So all you have to do is to register and sign in with your Adobe ID, and you'll be able to participate and see up to 350 sessions and lab in many apps. And in particular, Bruno, if you're looking to learn that sort of stuff is in design, yours truly got an InDesign session. So I'm going to be a Max speaker this year, and I'm going to be working in Photoshop and InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. But in particular, Bruno, I'm going to share a link into the chat. There is a session that I'm going to be running, which is exactly what you were asking, how to create a layout in InDesign. So sorry for this little sharing of, but I think that is super, super important for everyone to know about Max and that's amazing stuff that is happening, because we have over 350 amazing speakers. And since I already interrupt you, Ashley, I'm going to take one more second to share with everyone that we got about 25 minutes until we hit design feedback. So get your design coming on Discord. Wade is going to share the link here in the chat, and all you have to do is to click on the link, then go to the feedback challenge channel and click on the little plus at the bottom to share your work. Me and Ashley look forward to review it in about 25 minutes. So keep the design coming. Fantastic, Ashley. Oh, beautiful. Look, it's looking very neat. I'm really liking this small section there.
Yeah, I think it's kind of reminding me of what you would expect from a newspaper, all those tiny little sections. And this is definitely a much more copy-heavy layout. Mm-hmm. Just still plopping everything in.
Despite the fact that you have a lot of copy, I think it looks beautiful the way that you are giving it also a lot of breathing space, alternating the images and the columns.
Thank you.
Looking beautiful.
Thanks. Okay.
So we got some questions. Yep, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
I think there were just some questions on Max saying, what is Keanu Reeves speaking about? I think it's going to be more like moving and production. So yes. And actually, if you go on the website, it's so funny. You got Jesus Ramirez and Keanu Reeves. They're one next to each other. So I'm going to be like making a little bit like comparison between Jesus and Keanu. I don't know which one I'm going to be looking at, but I think Keanu Reeves definitely grabbed my attention as he did for Michelle. So Keanu Reeves is probably going to speak about his career as a producer and actor. So the full moving images. Cornell is asking, there is a limited number of people who can join and watch Adobe Max this year. No, it's going to be mind-blowing. I still have no idea how many people are going to see the sessions, and they're going to be translated, I believe, in Japanese, in Spanish. And I'm just going to mention these two because those are the only ones that I remember for sure. But if you go to max.adobe.com, you'll be able to find all the data information. And if you go through the speakers in session in Photoshop and InDesign, you're going to see the session that I'm going to be speaking to as well. And also we got Jesus Ramirez and so many other amazing instructors that they'll be speaking at Max.
So cool. I've always wanted to go, so maybe now's my chance.
Exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting place to be. It's so like the first time that I was there, Ashley, I was just like mind blown. I'm actually going to miss the physical event so much. But it's so it's pure interaction of so many creative minds. It's like a universe for creativity. It's beautiful. Explosion of colors and creativity. Carol is asking if the session will be recorded. Yes, Carol, all the session will be recorded. And if you head now to max.adobe.com, you'll be able also to see last year's sessions as well. Reverb Mike is asking, will this article have a dark mode, Ashley?
Oh, I mean, it's going to be on print, so probably not, but it would be interesting to do that.
That would be such a cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to move on from here. I think everything's somewhat in a good place. I think I still need to, move some lines down and just, start looking at the type a little bit in my rag and stuff like that. I do want to move this thing down, but I think overall I'm feeling pretty happy with it. Got the whole page covered. And so now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to this last section, which is going to be almost like a crossword game section. So for those, I am going to go into Illustrator, and I'm doing like a little flow chart. Should I put on real pants? Because so many people are not putting on pants anymore because you're on Zoom all the time. I just wear sweatpants all the time.
I'm bored in a house and I'm in a house bored.
So this is kind of the style I'm going to go off of, something similar to what we have going on type-wise. I kind of just like to start off like sketching something either on my iPad or on a piece of paper and then scanning it in and just like using it as a reference, just because I need to see the content somewhere and then base it off of that. So we're just going to create all these fun shapes.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your sketches.
Yeah, they're a little rough.
Oh, but that's a reality of it.
Ideas on paper.
That's why I'm saying thank you, because I think that is brave for you to share your personal way of displaying information on paper, but it's also very real. I mean, that's the reality. There's no point hiding something that we all do.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, I find that usually that was like my hardest thing when I started out, was just being so shy about just starting out a project, especially at work. And I felt like, oh no, everyone's going to be judging me. Like, I'm supposed to be this creative. Everything's supposed to be beautiful right off the bat. And then you come to realize very quickly that like things need to start ugly and then get pretty.
Exactly. That's why I'm going to reiterate, thank you so much for sharing the reality of it, because I think everyone goes through the process where we expect everything to look pretty to start with, where the reality is that is not even for the most experienced designer. Starts ugly and gets pretty. Very well said. Check if there is any question going on. Bruno Silva is saying, we're just talking about Max again. The problem is that some sessions will be at the same time, so we'll be missing some of them. Hopefully they'll be recorded. Yes, Bruno, they are recorded. Some people, like I believe me, as from years, we're going to do some live stuff during the breakout of the first session, but then you'll be able to access them again. They are pretty cool. The beauty of doing them live and participating in live is that you got more interaction with the instructor. But otherwise, everything is recorded and is a ton of mind-blowing content. Jatirmia is saying, that's a fun idea for a flowchart. I think it's very cool. Carol Per says, my cat doesn't care. Day pants or night pants. That should have been an option. Does your cat care? Does your pet care?
I don't think my dog cares, but I don't know. Who knows?
No, I prefer no pants so you can lick your calves.
Yeah. My dog, though, I wonder, I'm like, does she wonder, like, why are you home all this time? When am I going to get my time alone?
I actually seen a super funny meme of every like a cat, and I think it was on TikTok again. Like it was like a cat and a dog point of view, and like the dog was like, "Oh, mommy is home, and mommy is home all the time. Mommy is home," and then you got the cat with like assassin look saying, "When this human is gonna leave my empire?" Like what?
Or the one where it's like the cat assumes you got fired from your job and the dog assumes that you quit your job to spend more time with him.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that. So funny.
Cats are wonderful. They seem a little bit more judgy if they were to talk.
Yeah, they just look at you like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I kind of like wanted to share and break a little, horror towards the fact that they say that cats are not very social. I travel a lot, and I can definitely tell you now I got a cat sitter, which is sometimes joins here. She's also a designer. Her name is Paulina, and she's a lovely, lovely cat sitter, and she really helps me with taking care of my little Frida, the cat, because cats do get lonely. So don't think, you guys, that if you get a cat, you can leave him alone because it doesn't mind. The only problem is cat within cat. So unless they're grown together, it's hard to bring cat next to each other because they're very territorial. But they are also very, very attached to the human, to their mommy, to their daddies, to their brothers, to their sisters. So don't leave them alone because they do suffer of loneliness and they want to be cuddled. And maybe they want to just be next to you without being pet, because that's the thing. But yeah, it's like, don't leave your kitties alone. They love your company. Sorry, I'm like a big like pet lover, as you can probably tell.
Oh yeah, me too. We were thinking about getting another dog, and something I didn't realize is also if you have a girl dog, it is best to get a boy dog. And because if you have two girl dogs, usually they'll end up being also territorial with each other. Sometimes it works out, but my parents, they have a dog, and like luckily our dog and her get along a decent amount, but I can definitely see them like they're kind of like fighting for who gets to the food first and who gets like more attention. And they say if you get like a young puppy and wait for the other dog to be like a few years old and just make sure that they're opposite gender, usually then they're like, okay, I'm the alpha male, I'm the alpha female, and they'll not freak out as much.
Fantastic. So we have a lot of pet advice as well today on Adobe Live. And I know that a lot of people here are big cat lover and dog lovers. So I'm sure that everyone is enjoying our little pet advices. So Joe Durago is saying cats will eat you before your dog. No. Eddie's saying he's a dog person, no cat zone. So you're Team Ashley. And let us know in the chat, do you guys have a pet? Ashley has a beautiful, beautiful dog. I got a beautiful, beautiful kitty. Let us know in the chat if you maybe you have a bunny, or does anyone have a horse? I love horses as well.
That'd be cool.
Let us know. We're curious. So what are you using here, Ashley, to create this super cool chart?
So I'm just basically using lines and some shapes. And then here I'm kind of just playing around with the stroke. You can just use a dashed line just to differentiate between the two. But this is just like, I could, in theory, also do this in InDesign, but I just think that using a bunch of different shapes together in Illustrator usually ends up being a lot easier. And then you can just copy this and place it right into your InDesign.
Oh, really cool. Do you ever create libraries for this sort of stuff? Like CC libraries? And if not, don't worry. It's just...
I don't use libraries probably as much as I should. I know they like sometimes turn into libraries randomly for me, and then I never know really what to do with it from there.
Because the reason why I was mentioning that is because you can actually literally open your CC library and drag and drop the elements into the library and then bring them back. And the cool thing is that when you do work like that, when you make an edit into Illustrator, it updates automatically into your other file. So that's why I was like, I'm sorry, but it's like definitely a tip worth sharing because it's like super, super cool. But feel free to keep working with your workflow. But like we were discussing the other day, everyone's got their own workflow, and that's the beauty of the apps, like working in a different way. It's super
that's
cool.
The beauty of watching other people work too, is I just like love watching other people's workflow because that's like how you find new tricks, is by seeing how someone else does something.
I completely agree. I think that's one of the fantastic beauty of Adobe Live. You can see even if the theme is the same, even if people are talking about the same theme, you see so many different approaches, and there is always something to learn from everyone, every single one of the amazing creatives that I've seen here, like yourself.
Thanks. Okay.
So we got Cornell saying that about 2 years ago, my cat fell from the balcony on the 4th floor and we couldn't find him for 2 days, but we found him and he was safe and sound. Oh,
God.
6 life left.
Yeah.
I actually had a similar experience. My little Frida fell from a 3rd floor, but I found her straight away. But she was fine. She was just like little flat like that. Like,
oh my God.
I got really scared, but like not a broken bone. She was very tiny, so I think it was all cartilage. But again, she's still doing good.
3 stories.
She got a little like cuckoo though. Yes. Now every time that she is like me opening a window, she's like, how dare you?
Traumatized.
Eddie's saying, agree, this community is amazing. So much to learn. Yes, well said, Eddie. And speaking about stuff to learn, 10 minutes to the Daily Creative Challenge Review. Submit your work on Discord. Me and Ashley look forward to see what you've been up to with Julia Masalska for today's challenge in layout in Illustrator using the Align tool. We really look forward to see your work. So you got 10 minutes to submit them on Discord. Wade is going to be super cool and share the link, the clickable link to Discord so you can head into the feedback challenge and submit your work for us to review. Again, safe space. We're here to learn. Don't be afraid. Share, even if you're not done and you're probably looking for inspiration and asking a question, share your work. Me and Ashley are here and we look forward to see what you have done. I really look forward to see how this is gonna look into your.
I'm like trying to see. It's gonna have to be smaller. Just trying to get a sense of what it would look like on the page. And I'm missing the T.
I love that you're keeping the same color. It's a very, very cool one.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different to have, your body copy something other than black. Sometimes we tend to stick to black, but I think if you pick something else, it's always just like a fun extra thing to see in a print piece.
Yeah, especially this blue, I think is very easy on the eyes and at the same time it's very readable. So I think you've done a fantastic job.
Trying to read my notes. I'm like, sometimes do you ever look at something and you're like, what did I write?
Oh, yes, that happens all the time. More often than not, I have no clue what I wrote. And I'm like, and actually got like my little Max notebook from last year. And I mean, my handwriting is pretty horrible here. So if you haven't seen it, even better, because I don't understand what it says. And do you like doodle next to your notes as well?
Yes, yeah, definitely have some doodles.
Sometimes we were doodle. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just saying that the doodles take over the notes, and then I'm like, no, like that was a number.
We were saying yesterday too that someone said that they have gotten like a copy deck for work, and it was just like Sharpie marker handwritten, like all of the copy, and I was like, oh my god, can't imagine trying to read someone else's handwriting.
Oh yes, that's a challenge for sure. That will be another daily challenge.
Yeah.
And we got Jotirmia saying that he's done his submission for the Daily Creative Challenge. Thank you so much, Jotirmia. We definitely look forward to see it. Eddie saying, Ashley, I was doing that a few minutes ago with a job. Yes, doodle reminds me more than the words. I think saying that I always start few but never finish because of real life work, Eddie, is completely fine. You can share it. Even if you just share a few, the challenge is for you to challenge yourself and get better sharpening your techniques within the app. So absolutely cool. If you just do few, that's, I mean, super, super cool. And it's better that you got a lot of real life work. Well done, especially in those times. Carol is saying, my new logo client needs an ad and send me the copy in Magic Marker. What?
What? Who are all these people sending things in Magic Marker?
Yes, Carol, like you want to get the logo down and say bye-bye to this Magic Marker person and be like, or you can like maybe create some pens with your logo on it and just gift it to him as a like
subtle hint.
Yes, just made him like a, there's like, this is a gift for you, a pen with my logo, you might want to use it, it's just black ink. Yes, Viola say, we're sorry, Carol. Skills of a good designer usually are patience and dedication.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, super cool. So we're alternating rectangles and ellipses as well.
Yeah, I think for certain answers, I just want to differentiate between, you finally got to the end. So we're going to see, I kind of want to do the fun shapes that we were doing earlier in the publication, just to kind of mimic.
So where do we go to do those?
So you go to Effect, and then you go to Distort Transform, and then Zigzag, and then you can pick whether you want it to be smooth, you want them to have a corner, if you want to have like a crazy amount of them, the size that they actually are.
That's super cool. Oh, I'm liking that. I think that really like creates a little bit of a contrast in the eye.
Yeah, I think it makes it look a little bit more exciting. I gotta move these guys around.
Do you usually do this sort of infographics?
Yeah, I used to do a lot more of it early on. I loved finding different ways to make information interesting, especially in a larger publication. Sometimes you'll get like a lot of charts, and it's kind of fun just to figure out how to make certain information that maybe might not be super exciting, just like look a little bit more playful, either with like an icon or some other little element.
As they say, an image is worth 1,000 words. I think everyone shares sympathy with Carol for the Magic Marker. Wade is saying, Carol, do you prefer your copy in crayon or marker? Oh my gosh. What do you have to like deal with clients? Like I never hand to hear crazy stories. Like I've been in the industry for like almost 10 years now, and I like the crazy stories keep coming.
I haven't had anything like too crazy like that. I'm sure I can think at the top of my head later, but I think it's mostly just been like, yeah, people either just like I've gotten like a website design and then them having edits to it by printing out the whole website and then just like showing multiple, like one single scroll and then just printing them out on pieces of paper and then like drawing in a bunch of things. And I don't know, but that's not even that crazy. So I don't know.
I heard worse.
I have to think more. Yeah, there's way worse.
You've been lucky. So everyone, we got 1 minute and 45 seconds to design review. Ashley, let me know, of course, if you need a little bit of extra minutes just to finish this off. And we can give everyone literally an extra minutes, or we can jump into this design review in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then we can come back and allow you to bring everything together and again sort of recap what we've done in this lovely 2 days here of this editorial stream. Up to you. Let me know what you prefer.
Yeah, I think we're in a good enough spot here. We can kind of get an idea. There's a few more pieces I want to add in, but you guys kind of get the idea. So I think we can get into it.
Okay, so we got 50 seconds. I'm gonna leave everyone 50 seconds. Maybe we can bring this beautiful infographic into InDesign as well to see how it looks like with the pages.
Let's see how it's working.
Oh, so cool.
So I think you definitely need to finish some pieces off. Oh, let's keep going away. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to outline my copy here. Let's see. But I think we need to balance out some of these spots just so visually it's less of a big line like this. But yeah, I think it looks good so far.
Yeah, I love the way that you brought the color together. Fantastic. So I'm gonna do a last refresh and we can jump into my screen. And of course, Ashley, you're more than welcome to follow along to our Discord. And we're gonna start from Manal Samir, which is the very last item that we have shared here. And I don't know if you'll be able, let me know when you can also see it, Ashley. So
yes,
so we can see together here what we have done. And we have Manal Samir with this, I believe, business card. Now, I'm not sure if this is the layout for today, but Manal, since you've been super, super nice and shared your work and is the last submission, we'll definitely start from this card. I think, first of all, beautiful logo and nice colors. What do you think, Ashley? I don't know if you can see this lovely green Nazuro label.
Yeah, I think I love the logo, and I think you're doing a pretty good job with differentiating between content on here with, the bold Moroccan mint and cedar, and then a description underneath. I think maybe you could do something a little bit more with the line that's happening on the edge. I don't know if that is part of the design or if it's wrapping around something. I'm not sure, but I think
maybe it's the barcode.
Maybe it's a barcode. Oh, well, if it's the barcode, then I think in that case you need some numbers to it. I've also seen people do fun things with barcodes being crazy shapes. You could even do something like that if you want to highlight it a little bit more. And then, this was a tip I gave yesterday, but I think for copy that's going around in a circle, there's a way to adjust it so that cosmetics on the bottom's kind of still legible from where we are right now, rather than wrapping around. It kind of twists at the bottom. Maybe try that. That might help a little bit. But yeah, looks good.
I think yeah, she's done a pretty fantastic job. The Moroccan mint and cedar, all that part that is on white, I think it looks fantastic and very realistic. I can definitely see that on the label. I would just watch the alignment with the logo, because I don't know if everything is left aligned or is centered. So, and probably I will make a logo a tiny bit smaller. So we're gonna have a top margin and bottom margin. So just little look at the margin, but overall, well done. It looks pretty ready to go on a product. So very well done, Manal. I think it looks cool. Poster challenge updated. So we got different challenges here. Well, I can see that this is a challenge that I did with the kaleidoscope. It's looking cool, but let's try to stick on today's challenge first. So I believe today was the label. And then we can also, maybe if we finish off the label, we can jump off and have a look at the previous challenges as well. But the next one that I see for today challenge, layout with alignment, is this Vivat Palatinum. And let me just see, I believe the name was Gottfried. I think you've done a fantastic job, especially, Ashley, I don't know if you can see it there, with the background as well, that ties in to just give an idea of what we're talking about. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I like the lion shape for sure. That's really cool. I think it's got some, I think I like his little tongue and everything like that. And you've got the colors playing off of each other really well. One thing to note is I think maybe your body copy might be just like a tad too thin. I think you should maybe make it a little bit bolder, have a little bit more contrast so that folks can read that. And then just be mindful of your watermark that you have going on in the background too. Just making sure that that doesn't, make it hard for people to read. Maybe making it a little bit lighter would probably go a long way.
Completely agree. I don't think I got anything to add. I think you got it right in, the aspect that I will enhance in order to bring it to perfection. But otherwise, it's a fantastic start. We have a lot of people usually when they're here in the chat that even like redo it. So if you want to just upgrade those little changes, we're happy to view your second version. But well done. It looks fantastic. Yeah. And I love the layout. I think they've done a fantastic job mocking it up as well. Well done, Gottfried. And now we are looking at Jyotirmia. Here it is. Also, we got labels. Coolio. Lovely mock-up as well of the work.
Yeah, I love that mock-up. I think we looked at this like something with this brand yesterday, and I really like the type that you're using. I think the colors are great. I really like the way that you are highlighting the and adding a little visual interest there. It's small for me, so it's hard to tell, but like maybe just make sure that it's super centered. That little box, it looks like by the T, it might just be either visually, just because there's a space there, you might just want to make it bigger, so then it just adds more sense of center. Because sometimes things can be like actually aligned perfectly, but then like optically, it's not really reading as much. So you might just want to make that a little bit bigger. But overall, I think this is a great tag. I think you did a really good job.
Yes, I completely agree. I think he's done a fantastic job. And I agree with your feedback. It looks like, and again, Jyotirmia, there might not be something that you have done. That's something that happens, like Ashley was saying very correctly, with the metrics and optical view. There is a little bit more space on the left side of the T of the label where it says divide the trend. I will definitely manually perhaps align that rectangle behind the type to make sure that we really get that on point regarding the alignment. And also, I think you can give a little bit of breathing space with the exclamation mark. And if I can be completely honest, I would probably, I don't know if you need that question mark. I will move the entire Coolio and from Coolio to 100% cotton, more centered. Use the space for what you have, because I think you already got a gorgeous design going on. So, less is more, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But if you do need it, and I don't know if there is like a symbol or there is something about the brand that is, of course, I'm not aware of this. As usual, every opinion is, related to the actual brief and the work. So, but overall, fantastic job, Jyotirmia. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And your name is Jyotirmia. Here it is. I pronounced it right. And we got Ant with some honey labels. Let's check these out. Ooh. Traditional honey made.
Wow, that mock-up looks good. Makes the honey look really good. I love the gradient that you're using in the background, along with the honeycomb shape. I like the arch that you have going on. I think, I like the idea of almost like the traditional honey mead, like breaking up the honeycombs, but I think it might be a little bit too much with what you have going on already. Like there's already a ton of visual interest. I think maybe either, you don't need the drop shadow on the honeycombs, or maybe you don't need the gradient in the words. I think there's something there that maybe you want to try playing around with, like taking away. But I think you have a really good start. And from here on out, it's just playing around with, do I need these little lines underneath? Do I need that gradient on that? Just kind of playing around with maybe reducing some of those elements, because your background's great. And I think you should let that highlight.
I completely agree. I think it's super, super cool. Actually, I think we're on the same page. Just like a little bit of less is more, less is more, less is more. I don't know if we need those lines under yeast, onion, water, but I agree with everything Ashley said. And I think you can really get the traditional feel of honey. Like is like making my mouth watering for honey. Like now all I want is like a little bit of bread and honey. So yeah. You definitely did your job with the label. It definitely works. That's for sure. Well done. And look at this mocha Black Becky. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at those little bottles coming out. Those are ready to go.
Yeah.
Those are ready to go. Fantastic. What do you think?
You did a great job mocking those up. Those look great. I love the shadow you got going on and everything too. That's awesome. Honestly, like the only thing that I would really say is maybe, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think whatever copy you have going on around the circle, maybe playing around with that a little bit, because just from where I'm at, I can't really read them very much. But I like that you kind of have this like monocolor look where it's just like a purple label on a purple bottle and a green label on a green bottle. I think that's cool. I think maybe you could play around with the wood polish and clean type a little bit. Maybe put polish on the same line with wood and clean. Maybe play around with that a little bit. Although it's wood and then it's polish and clean. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so because I was thinking exactly the same, Ashley, but it looks like it tells the name of the something for violin. It's like a violin product. So the first word, I think it makes sense because it kind of like say that that's for the wood, and what it does is polish and clean. And then the strings. But in order not to get confused, because Ashley had a very good point, you want perhaps maybe put the wood and the string into a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just so do something to make them a little bit different from each other. So it's almost like, okay, this is like a category, and then here's like a description underneath it. Yeah, fantastic. I agree.
Fantastic. And besides that, well done. They're ready to be sold. Yeah. Ready to go on shelf, Black Becky. They're fantastic. Beautiful. So we got more labels, and those are with Julia. I'm not gonna review Julia because she's a pro, and they're looking pretty cool. So maybe we can go back and review a little bit of the previous challenges that we found here. And we have here Daxa. So this is a fresh fruit and vegetable, dairy products, and raw honey. I don't know if you can see it, Ashley. It's like all green.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love the bird you have. That shape is really cool. And I also like that it's almost like the wing is a leaf. I think that's a great play on what you have going on here. I think the colors are great, especially for the 100% natural. I think it's a perfect color palette for it. The only thing I might say is, again, maybe play around with the pattern in the background a little bit more. Maybe it's not just like the full logo in the background. Maybe it's like a pattern of sorts with the logo. You could do something fun. And then also, I don't know if you necessarily need all of the stamps everywhere. So I think maybe play around with your background a little bit more. But I love the bird. That's awesome.
I think that me and you actually are like definitely on the most minimal approach to things. Although I think it's fantastic that you really kept it consistent, and you got a ton of repetition going on, because you also got the watermark of the logo behind. So definitely you're make these brand memorable, because you're really giving us a lot of visual that repeat the same the same element of the logo. Well done. The only perhaps addition to everything that Ashley say, which I find myself in agreement, is the fact that the fresh fruit and vegetable dairy products and raw honey looks like is very current. So we might want to open up that type a little bit, because if you look at on a label, it just ends up kind of like becoming invisible because the letters are too close to each other. Although the colors work fantastic, and as Ashley said, having the bird and the leaf, I think is very well done. So maybe just play on the kerning. So what I mean is making the space between those little letters a little bit broader, just to give a little bit of breathing space and make sure that everything is readable. Well done. Yeah. Well done, Daxa. Now we go. I'm not going to review this because this is part of an old session that I've done. Now we are looking at Julia, but Supriya, very well done. I think you've done a fantastic job with the kaleidoscope. Looks very fun. Okay, we got Viola with this Shaki & Co.
Well, I love
the natural, isn't it, Ashley?
Yeah, it is very natural. I think your color palette is spot on. It's very earthy. I love the ferns. I think, maybe those, I think you're trying to do like some sort of organic splotchy pattern up above. I think maybe repeating those a little bit more, not maybe just having two of them right there might help make them feel a little bit more purposeful. And then the only other thing is I think that's a flame in the middle. And I think you don't necessarily really need it. I think if you do want to have it, maybe just have it being white so you can kind of really see the shape of it. I think, the red and the kind of like yellowy green brown colors, they start to kind of turn into each other, so you can't really fully see the full shape. So I think maybe either making that one color, maybe just going without it. But yeah.
Yeah, and also we got like this little shaki on the eye that almost already gives us the idea of a flame.
Oh, yeah.
So I would drop it and I would just leave the beautiful logo. I think it looks fantastic, and I think you've done such a great job with all the elements that I think that, again, is one of them. Again, less is more. And I love the type of shaki, by the way. It looks very beautiful. I'm very curious to know what type is there. And maybe if you have these little branches here between the logo, I will say make a little bit bigger. My big advice is either go for it or don't. And since you're going for it, just make them a little bit bigger. Maybe you can rotate them a little bit, but I love the color palettes. I'm a big fan of this olive, gold, green. So Mediterranean. Definitely down my street. Fantastic. Very well done. I'm trying to figure it out how to change challenge. I think I zoomed in way too much. Fantastic. Here I am. And we got more submissions. Fantastic. Definitely worth even looking at. Beautiful. So while we were reviewing, we have a few submissions, and I think we have a few minutes to have a look at them. I'm going to start from the very bottom one. Divine Rose, can you over my color theme from yesterday? Divine Rose, wedding bouquet. That's looking gorgeous.
Yeah, I think this is a great one. I like the roses. I like how you have them in the background here. I love your stamp. I think the stamp is great. And kind of really showing how this type can, stand on one line and then go underneath. It's a great job. I think, maybe you can play around with the body copy a little bit. Maybe that can just all be centered. I don't know how this is exactly going to be like placed on the label, if it's going to be a square or if it's going to be, just showing the front piece. I think that's just something to keep in mind. And then maybe dropping like the ands and the of down a space. But yeah, I think this is great. And I love the color palette.
Love it. I will just suggest to make the type a little bit bigger for the description. It looks a bit small. But besides that, like all I will do is just literally drag it a little bit in order to increase it proportionally. But I wouldn't move anything. It looks beautiful. Very, very fantastic palette composition. We got the barcode with the number as well. Beautiful. And then we have a gift card here from Anthony. That's for the minimal. We want a minimal. We asked for minimal. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, this is minimal. I think maybe playing around with the weight of the 100 and also like the kerning a little bit here. And I mean, maybe even putting like the name of where the gift card is to in case someone like doesn't really know. That'd be a nice little detail, but otherwise I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, I really like the way you've done like your sort of like ticket scannable little item there.
Mhm.
But it looks cool, and I love the repetition in the gradient. But I agree. Let's watch this space in here because it almost look like they are different sizes just because the way they're placed.
Mhm.
But beautiful color palette there. Ooh, and look at this, Natalia.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
super pro work. Can I buy it?
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, you have a great like little series going on there too with the colors. That's great. You're really showing how your design can just go for all different types of, scents, I guess, for lack of a better word. That's awesome. Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's
it's great.
like the dream. You work in black and white, and then you can put on any color, and it looks wonderful all the way through. Beautiful work, Natalia. Super, super impressed. If I want to like be really, really like picky, I will probably use this a description in a sans serif just to kind of
Hmm.
like soften the eye and make sure that we can read them, and
Hmm.
just look at the alignment because here it looks like everything is left aligned and here it looks like they are center aligned. But again, it would be
Yeah.
nice to see when they are also around because it looks like this one is going to go around like a tub or something. So it
Hmm.
always nice to see it on a mock-up and the way they look like.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's pretty much time to go back to the work.
Okay.
What do you want to do, Ashley? Would you like to jump back into your design so we can have a little bit of a recap of what we've done so
Um,
far?
yeah,
And
we can do that.
yeah,
Okay.
so we fantastic. So if
Yeah,
we
let's
just
jump in and like just take a look of how we feel everything's looking, if there's any last minute details. I think, flowchart's still going to need some work. I'm going to still need to spend a little bit more time on that back page. But so far, I'm feeling pretty good. It's just by the end with editorial, you're kind of just doing little nitpicky things, making sure you have no like widows, orphans anywhere, making sure, everything's spelled correctly. I don't want these bullets like this, so I'm going to get rid of those. But
checking your
it's always
bullets.
good. Yeah, it's always good to just take a look at the end. And then my big thing too, if something's going to be printed, is you want to print it out. Like even if it's, not going to be the exact same format as the paper you have at home, you want to print out and look at it and just like proofread it, especially something that's really content heavy, because you're always going to miss something.
Yes, I'm a big misspelling. I'm dyslexic, so that happens very often. But let us see, let's talk us through what we've done yesterday as well, so we kind of like wrap it up in these last 3 minutes before we jump into the schedule.
Yeah.
If you want to tell us like what you've done yesterday as well, for those of you that maybe are curious and they can go back and watch the replay, because if you scroll here down into the behance.net/live, you'll be able to watch this editorial replays. Yesterday was hosted by Sus Ramirez, today with me, but of course both days with our wonderful guest Ashley. So tell us a little bit more about yesterday, and people can get and look at that video as well if you haven't done already.
Yeah, so yesterday was kind of our day of nailing down typeface and color, and the layout a little bit. You'll even notice here, what I like to do is I kind of like to make almost like a little mini brand guidelines for any publication, depending on if you're already working with a brand and they have brand guidelines, you might already follow those, but just kind of looking to see here what kind of headlines we might want to use, subheads, what type of body, and then just getting a feel for the palette together. I just like to pick that stuff out before. So we did that a little bit. We added these little wayfindings, so a little bit more like a magazine. So if you want to just like see bulletproof coffee, you can go directly to that page. And then we laid out this page. So if you're a beginner plant parent, here's a few ideas of different plants based on easy to hard. I always have a hard time getting Fiddle League figs to live. So there's a fun little graphic right there. And then an article on Shibori. And then we got this just fun quote that's just supposed to spark a little bit of joy and fun in your life.
And talking about sparking a little bit of joy, why don't we share as well your Instagram, Ashley? If you let us know, can we find you on Instagram, or if you have it open in your browser, you can perhaps show it before we jump into the schedule so everyone can have a little bit of your design joy as well.
Yes. I do not have it up right now.
If you can just let us know how to find you.
Yes, sure that I am Sway Studio. Sway is spelled SWEY, so spelled a little bit differently. And you can find me on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Behance twice, so you can find me there. So plenty of places to find me.
Fantastic. And if everyone wants to know a little bit more about me, my name Kladi. I am Kladi, and everything is I am Kladi on the net. Do we have time for running the schedule real quick, or let's see if we can read it? Yes, we do. Fantastic. So we just finished this amazing stream with editorial design and with the lovely Ashley Armstrong, and after us, Peter Del Tondo with Adobe XD. Fourth daily creative challenge of the day, followed by Kyle Webster with Draw Along, and then the awesome Voodoo Val and Emmy from Good and Rad Funny will be following us. Thank you so much, Ashley, for this time together. Of course, thank you to everyone in the chat. It was absolutely a blast being here with you.
Yeah, it was so great being with all you guys. This was awesome.
Fantastic. It's time to say goodbye. So don't worry. And you can always watch the replay for yesterday as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Have fun with XD Daily Creative Challenge. Bye.